Says thankfully that man is out of the hospital recovering at home, but this incident is raising concerns about safety. And again, we want to warn you, this video is disturbing. A vicious, unprovoked attack recorded by the attacker, streaming live on Facebook as police say he attempted to kill a state employee. Mesa police say this happened on Tuesday around 5 p.m. inside this building at Alma School Road in Southern, an Arizona Department of Child Safety office. The suspect, DeAndre Terrell Johnson, beginning his live stream as he sat down with a DCS employee to discuss his case involving his children.
With all this DCS, I want to introduce you so that we can have a proper introduction on this.
Growing agitated when the employee doesn't want to be in his live stream.
I want to introduce you. Don't be afraid. You hold a public position, man.
At the end of the hour-long meeting,
You gonna dap me up?
Johnson puts the employee in a chokehold, attempting to strangle him. 2 minutes go by.
You was a mother dead man.
The employee doesn't appear to be moving.
You was a dead man.
Then you hear witnesses in the background.
You was a dead man.
The whole attack lasting 2.5 minutes.
You still breathing. I ain't making my point.
Records obtained by 12 News show multiple people called 911 and Johnson left. First responders finding the victim lying on the ground injured in an altered state of consciousness. As he was taken to the hospital, police began their search for Johnson, and when they found him, he fled, prompting a pursuit. Officers deploying a grappler, but that still didn't stop him. He was ultimately tracked down and arrested within 3 hours of the assault.
He's on the You made it right.
This violent attack raising questions about security for DCS employees. Earlier this year, citing budget cuts, DCS cut ties with a security company which provided guards to protect caseworkers during visits at a Phoenix field office, leaving some employees questioning the department's priorities. In response to Tuesday's assault, staff received an email reminding employees to use an emergency communication software they have access to in case of an emergency, and to consider meeting with parents in pairs. When 12 News asked if those measures would prevent a similar attack from happening again, a DCS spokesperson said, although there is no way of predicting or stopping an unprovoked attack, alert media can help in receiving immediate law enforcement response in escalated situations or when a staff member feels unsafe. This victim, who DCS says is now at home recovering, later told police from the hospital that Johnson threatened his life a week prior, but he was able to calm him down. Doctors described his injuries to police as absolutely serious, saying the victim almost died. Johnson now faces an attempted first-degree murder charge, in addition to 2 counts of aggravated assault and unlawful flight from police. DCS says it's conducting a comprehensive review of this incident. Johnson is being held on a $500,000 cash bond.
I thought he would have, he got the police under his hand, and this is a powerful person, but he don't want to be seen.
So I gotta go.
All right, man.
All right, so we'll be in touch.
Sounds like a plan. You gonna dap me up? All right. Go ahead, call the cops. I'll be waiting. Anybody else think it's okay to take the girls in the room? Anybody else think it's okay? Huh? Is it okay to take little girls in the room? The fuck is not. I don't give a fuck what position Y'all, you take my fucking daughter in the room, this is what the folks are gonna have to see. You still breathing? Back up. Fuck that. Fuck that. Nah. I called the cops already. And they didn't want to do nothing. I couldn't. Nobody take my daughter into a motherfucking room. No, I didn't. He's still breathing. I ain't make my fucking point.
He's on the way. You made your point.
No, James.
Hey, what can I say? Leave him alone. What are you doing regarding the witness with this guy?
We don't live, bro. We don't live. Maybe you can turn to the you don't want to do that.
Story will teach you a lot about anger and letting go. One day, while a snake was crawling through a tool shed, it brushed against a saw that was on the ground and injured itself, thinking it was a threat. It snapped back and bit the saw, severely wounding its mouth. Blinded by anger from being hurt, it decided to enact revenge on the saw by suffocating it. So it wrapped around the saw and started squeezing with all its might. The poor snake kept cutting itself on the saw until it died. If only it had ignored the cut and moved on, it would have stayed alive. The moral of this story: when we react viscerally with anger and condemn those who have wronged us, we only end up hurting ourselves. In life, it is sometimes better to ignore some situations and people's insults, because the consequences can be irreversible and catastrophic. Forgive the people who have wronged you, and do not give them...
All right, Shalom. All praise to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And I think I'll title this video, Black Man Chokes Out Child Safety Worker. All right, just very, very straight to the point. This is a news report / Bible lesson. News filtered through the scriptures. And this is going to be a cautionary video and also a teaching, learning moment. You different brothers out there and sisters, right? Those of you that woke up to the truth of the Hebrew Israelites, or the truth of the Holy Bible, which we're the Israelites, the Hebrew Israelites, you need to realize that you can't take revenge. You can't take matters into your own hands. Learning the scriptures has helped you learn and understand that you are in captivity. And things are going to happen that you're not going to like. There's a lot of injustices that have happened to us as a people, as individuals, as fathers, sons, husbands, wives, daughters, right? There's a lot of things that happen to us that we cannot change. As you grow in the knowledge of the truth and your faith increases, you need to realize that the Most High knows about every one of us, and he's going to, in due time, correct, things that are done wrong to us, and we're going to get revenge. But in the Most High's time, every one of our enemies will pay, but you have to wait. You have to wait on the Lord. So you saw the video, and I ain't going to, prolong it, but, this Jake, he basically crashed out and took matters into his own hands, right? And he choked out a Arizona. Well, I got the video from right here. Wild as fuck. Man live streams attempted murder of Arizona's Department of Child Safety worker inside state office. Right? So, Jake basically live streamed it, wanted to film it. And that's a big thing. That damn social media. Again, a couple of things here. Social media. Number 2, emotional so-called black man. You see? Another thing, that goddamn long hair. See? Not able to take a L now some kind of way. And I ain't gonna completely condemn the guy. I condemn his actions, but I understand where he was coming from. Because you heard him, basically say, you still think it's all right to take a little girl or whatever. I don't know what his issue was, but some type of way, something dealing with his kids. And this state office, these these Arizona officials or whatever wanted, I guess, to try to take his kids or did something to him, and he flipped out. Okay, he flipped out. He tried to basically, he was going, choke. He choked the guy out or whatever. Right on the live stream, right on live. He choked the guy out, and he almost killed a dude. Now the dude didn't die. All right, it was hard to tell whether he was a Jake or looked like he probably could have been one of the northern tribes or whatever. But to show you that this is real, it's all over the place. It's New York Post, Fox News, right? It's everywhere. And this happened out there in Arizona, in one of the cities or small towns of Arizona. All right, so when you see stuff like this, what we do is we filter it through the scriptures. So you brothers out there now, also I put in the intro before we go on. Let me try to get everything out I want to say. In the intro, also I put another little video, and I got this other video from the brother Yashalom, GMS Watchman. He basically sent me, we was having a little discussion on it, and he sent me this video. And see, as I told, I said in the chat back and forth with the brother, is that Jake, he done fucked up. Cause now you done acted irrationally. You let your emotions get the best of you. You went and acted, and now you done cut your own self, just like this serpent did. See, we gotta be wise as serpents, but we can't act in the manner and the viciousness of a serpent. We gotta be cunning, we gotta be wise, we gotta be smart, and doing all of that while staying in the confines of the law, or else you could become a victim, just like this serpent was, right? And y'all heard the little video. The serpent cut himself on a saw. He thought the saw, and then he reacted in haste, wound up getting himself another injury, still didn't learn. Then he tried to get revenge on the saw further. What did he wind up doing? Killing his own self. And that's the same thing like with Jake, because now guess what? Here it is. You say you did all that to protect your daughter. Now you about to be locked up. And they gonna throw the book at this dude, man, because in most instances, attempted murder is more severe than an actual murder. They're gonna give you more years for an attempted murder because now you still alive. They're gonna say you were a menace, and they're gonna be trying to protect other people, and your actions were premeditated because you set up a whole live stream and you set it up. You lured that dude right there in front of the camera, and then you grabbed him and you choked him out. Now, for you aggressive punk ass Israelites who carnal, you gonna say, man, what you talking about? That's a brother. You idiots. No, the Lord don't tell you to do shit like this. It's a time for, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. As Ecclesiastes chapter 3 tells you, it's a time for everything under the sun. Now is a time we still in punishment. While the Lord is giving us our heritage back, he's raising us up, he's teaching us, we're learning, still ain't time for vengeance. Now's the time to be learning. Time to sit your ass down, be quiet, exercise your emotions, exercise them demons through the scriptures, work on your damn emotions. Stop being so fucking flying off the handle ready to do some shit. Until the Lord do something, you don't do nothing. That's the whole key. And like I said, now you did all this to protect your daughter. Now who gonna protect her? Who gonna protect your daughter now? When you then the nigga tried to act like he was hard, like he gonna hang around and wait for the police, and then you fled like a bitch. That show you them after them demons went off of him, he realized, oh shit. And then hey man, social media got Jake fucked up, and you too damn emotional, man. Let's start right here in James chapter 1, and forgive my rant. I had to get open up with just some words there. So this is James 1:19. You real brothers, sincere brothers and sisters, you learn you are not to raise your hands in revenge against anybody. Your power is in prayer, and I mean when I say power, I'm talking about your ability, to take revenge, right? Is in prayer. Let the Lord do it. Not let as in allow him to do it, but don't get out of your own way. You can't do nothing in this world. You can't put your hands up towards nobody. You think every one of us don't have a right, or that we feel like we've been wrong and we want to take revenge on somebody, but we can't do it. It takes a strong man to know you can whoop somebody's ass, or you can smite somebody or take them down, right? That you got the power to do it and still don't do it even though they wronged you. It take a real man to not do anything. It takes more of a man to not respond, to not lash out, right, than it does take a man to lash out. I mean, it's easy to overpower. You saw that dude. That dude didn't have a chance. He couldn't even fight his way out of it. He put one chokehold in that dude and choked him right down. Right? So it really ain't like the people can do anything to us, but you have to wait on the Lord. You have to wait till he rise up to the prey. This is the book of James 1:19. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. You can't be easily angry. But if you do get angry, and this says wrath, which is a different emotion than just anger, and we're going to look at it, you have to be slow to wrath, because if you easily angry, the least little thing set you off, you're going to be done reacted before you knew it, put your hands to something, and then it becomes sin. Verse 20 says, for the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of the Most High. You can't get so mad to the point where it causes you to commit a sin. And let's look at the word wrath. Right here, this is the word in the Greek. Looks like the word orge, orge. It says wrath, anger, vengeance, indignation. Anger, the natural disposition. Temper, anger. Look at this, movement or agitation of the soul. Impulse, right? That's more like it. Impulse. It ain't just being mad about something. It's the movement or agitation of your soul. The impulse. When you impulsive, you react suddenly, right? Desire any violent emotion, but especially anger. It's anger fueled by what? You actually doing something. Anger exhibited in punishment, hence used for punishment itself. Anger, wrath, indignation. But I really like to focus on this word impulse. A sudden, strong, and unreflective urge or desire to act. That's what happens to you. Wrath gives you a sudden, strong, and unreflective urge or desire to act. What's reflective when you think about it? What's unreflective when you don't think about it? A driving or motivating force, an impetus, urge, spontaneity. So that wrath makes you react spontaneously. And sometimes you may even think about it first before you do it. But the Lord says you can't work righteousness if you're in a state of wrath. And this dude, he was just, live streaming it. Got his long hair, got his little black tank top on. You done fucked up. Now you about to be in jail for some years. Ain't no lawyer can get you out of that. You done live streamed this attempted murder. People have seen it, and they gonna play the tape in court. When you go to court, a year from now, however long it is, when you finally go to the real court to get your sentencing and all of that, or whether you're guilty or not, that dude gonna be in there that you choked out. He gonna have his lawyer. They gonna play the tape. The dude gonna say he feared for his life. Number one, that you already threatened him before this happened, because that's what they said in the news report. And then they're gonna play this tape, and you gonna get all kind of years. You might get life in prison. Then who gonna protect your daughter? You wasn't thinking, man. You wasn't thinking on your feet. You was too busy, flexing and doing all of that. That's how you fuck up. You brothers out there, learn from this shit. Wrath got on him, and then he reacted on impulse, unreflective, right, fit of emotion and anger, and he lashed out and tried to kill this guy. And then to show you that you ain't in control of nothing, why didn't the dude die? You got this strong ass Jake choking your ass out. You ain't doing it. That dude probably was so close to death, but Jake couldn't choke him out. Why? Because it wasn't that man time to go. You see, life and death ain't in your hands. You got to learn from that shit. Fuck around, try to do something to somebody, and it'll be your judgment. This is Ecclesiastes 7:9. Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools. And now another scripture says you can be angry, but sin not. Ephesians, is it 4:26? Let's see if that's it. Yeah, Ephesians 4:26. Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. You can be angry, but don't let that anger turn to wrath and cause you to sin. Ephesians 4:26 from the NLT. And don't sin by letting anger control you. Don't let the sun go down while you are still angry. That's not what it means. Okay? You just gotta, you gotta give it up to the Lord. You gotta pray on it, man. You can't walk around in an angry ass state. You can't even damn function. You can't even function. Now you're an enemy of the Lord. Now the scriptures command us, Matthew 10:16, the Lord said this, Yahweh Shai, behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Meaning what? You got to be smart. You got to play the game. You could think like a because really when you look at the word serpent, let's go there real quick before I mess it up here. Wise as serpents. A serpent is in the Greek is ophis or ophis. And the word says snake, serpent. With the ancients, the serpent was an emblem of cunning and wisdom. The serpent who deceived Eve was regarded by Jews as the devil. Yeah, but it wasn't the devil, and that's wrong. They put that in there. That serpent was what? A cunning individual, a man. That's who it was. That same spirit that was in Cain was the serpent. It says a snake figuratively as a type of sly, cunning, an artful, malicious person, especially Satan. Yeah, but it's not Satan. Satan does have those abilities, and he does give you that what I like to call demonic adrenaline. Jake will get demonic adrenaline. Like you see them women cussing out the Lord, they got that same demonic adrenaline, but it ain't Satan himself. Anyway, it says an artful, malicious person. Now, when the individual is malicious, let's look that up. Characterized by malice, intending or intended to do harm, spiteful. You see? And that dude had complete malice. He was ready to do work. He tried to take the dude out off the earth, man. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be therefore wise as serpents. You got to be like a bad guy, but with good intentions, right? You got to be a serpent in righteousness. But what's the other part? And harmless as doves. So while you are thinking, you're plotting, you can scheme and plot and do all of that. But when you cross the line and it becomes sin, now you can't do it. You see, now you can't do it. So there's so many things you can fuck up, man. I'm going to read you this. This is Romans 12. So you got to be wise as serpents, but harmless as doves. See, a dove ain't going to harm you. It's a bird of peace. All it's going to do is just fly around, eat twigs, eat whatever it eats, and that's all it's going to do. It ain't going to harm nobody. Romans 12:17. Recompense to no man evil for evil. What's evil for evil? If I do something to you, you turn around and do something evil to them. That's thinking like an earthling. That's an earth dwelling mentality. That's a low level thinking mentality. That's a carnal man's mentality. Now I know you growing up, your daddy told you if somebody hit you, you hit them back. And that ain't what this is talking about. Of course, little things like that you're gonna probably do, but this major stuff. Recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. It don't matter. Yeah, I know Esau is full of shit. I know people say things, do things, but you can't lash out. Just like on football. Sometimes you'll see two players get into a scuffle. One dude will walk up and grab a guy's face mask and put him down to the ground. Nothing happens. When the guy gets up and retaliates and a huge fight break out, he gets the penalty. And you was the victim. Just like that serpent. He wound up being the victim. See? That we showed in the video. It says, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves. What? Avenge not yourselves. What about if he eat my brother? You idiot. What did it say? Avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Now, at the end of the day, when it start going to thine enemy, hunger, feed him, and all of that, it's really going into your Israelite brothers, people of your nation. But at the same time, you can't rise up against any person and do anything because of the law. This law is going to lock you up. You see? Let's read this in the NLT. Romans 12:16 from the NLT. Live in harmony with each other. Don't be too proud to enjoy the company of ordinary people, and don't think you know it all. Never pay back evil with more evil. Do things in such a way that everyone can see you are honorable. Do all that you can to live in peace with everyone. Dear friends, never take revenge. Did you hear it? Leave that to the righteous anger of the Lord, for the scriptures say, I will take revenge. I will pay them back, says the Lord. Plain and simple. The Lord will fight all our battles. He's going to pay back all our enemies. And before it's all said and done, he may give us an opportunity to take revenge, but it's going to be in a righteous sense after we, what? When the mercy of the Lord is withdrawn from the earth, except for his elect, then it'll be a different time. We'll see. This is Ecclesiastes 28, verse 1. It says, he that revengeth shall find vengeance from the Lord. If you take revenge, the Lord gonna take revenge on you. He that revengeth, because that's his job. His job is to take vengeance. That's why he said, vengeance is mine, said the Lord. So if you take revenge, you are now saying you don't need the Lord. You can do it yourself. You know better than him. The judgment that you thought of is better than the judgment that he thought of. Now you're guilty. He that revenges shall find vengeance from the Lord, and he shall surely keep his sins in remembrance. Forgive thy neighbor the hurt that he hath done unto thee, so shall thy sins also be forgiven when thou prayest. Plain and simple. And that shows you that it's really Israelites, because your neighbor is your fellow Israelite. However, I can even see a way, just like with the Edomites. We ain't taking no revenge on damn Edomites. We're going to let the Lord do it, because the Lord, all you can do is, you might try to choke out somebody, an Edomite, they might still live, just like this guy did. He did all of that, and that dude still didn't die. Why? Because it wasn't of the Lord. The Lord didn't want that to happen. That's why the man didn't die. Now I'm going to read you an account. This is kind of lengthy, but we'll read it from the NLT. This is learn from King David's example about trying to take revenge. Listen to it. This is the NLT, 1 Samuel 25, verse 1. It says, the death of Samuel, Nabal angers David. All right, so starting at verse 1. 1 Samuel 25 and 1 from the NLT. It says, now Samuel died, and all Israel gathered for his funeral. They buried him at his house in Ramah. Then David moved down to the wilderness of Maon. There was a wealthy man from Maon who owned property near the town of Carmel. He had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats, and it was sheep shearing season. Now remember, during this time, King David, whether he was going to be the king or not, it was kind of up in the air. I mean, he was always going to be the king, but he was going through a lot during this time. He was being persecuted from his sons. All kind of stuff was going on. He was kind of in between, you know. He wasn't raised up and firmly in power yet. It says there was a wealthy man from Maon who owned property near the town of Carmel. He had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats, and it was sheep shearing time. This man's name was Nabal. Oh, forgive me. Suddenly yawning too much. Anyway, now I want to focus on this. He had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats. See, that's what people ate. You didn't go to the stores and buy packaged meat back then. You ate out of your flock. So if you was a man that had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats, you was straight. You had plenty of food, right? You was wealthy. It goes on. It says this man's name was Nabal, and his wife Abigail was a sensible woman, a sensible and beautiful woman. But Nabal, a descendant of Caleb, was crude and mean in all his dealings. Now, if I recall correctly, Caleb was from the tribe of Judah. Okay, if this is the same Caleb, I don't know for sure if it is, but let's say that it is. Caleb was from the tribe of Judah. This would mean Nabal was a Judite, which King David was a Judite. So a so-called black man, so you can understand. It says, or so-called Negro, so you can understand, which are Israelites. From the tribe of Judah, it says, one of the tribes is Judah. When David heard that Nabal was shearing his sheep, he sent 10 of his young men to Carmel with this message for Nabal. Peace and prosperity to you, your family, and everything you own. I am told that it is sheep shearing time. While your shepherds stayed among us in Carmel, we never harmed them. Nothing was ever stolen from them. Ask your men and they will tell you this is true. So would you be kind to us since we have come at a time of celebration? Please share any provisions, which provisions would be food, supplies, different stuff. Please share any provisions you might have on hand with us and with your friend David. Because like I said, King David, they was kind of between places, you know. But when you out there with a bunch of men, different people, you gonna run out of food quick. You gonna run out of supplies. They needed stuff. David's young men gave this message to Nabal in David's name, and they waited for a reply. Who is this fellow David? Nabal sneered to the young men. Who does this son of Jesse think he is? There are lots of servants these days who run away from their masters. Should I take my bread and my water and my meat that I have slaughtered from my shearers and give it to a band of outlaws who come from who knows where? So David's young men returned and told him what Nabal had said. Get your swords, was David's reply as he strapped on his own. Then 400 men started off with David and 200 remained behind to guard their equipment. Now you just imagine this. King David and his mighty men and other soldiers, 400 in number, on the way to see what you got to say. You've been talking shit. Okay, they're going to show up and find out what you got to say. This ain't no, this ain't no maybe. This is the King David, okay? David Saul has killed his 1,000, but David his 10,000. He got a reputation, right? It says, meanwhile, one of Nabal's servants went to Abigail and told her, David sent messengers from the wilderness to greet our master, but he screamed insults at them. These men have been very good to us, and we never... Oh, y'all forgive me. Let me read it again. It says, these men have been very good to us, and we never suffered any harm from them. Nothing was stolen from us the whole time they were with us. In fact, day and night, they were like a wall of protection to us and the sheep. You need to know this and figure out what to do, for there is going to be trouble for our master and his whole family. He's so ill-tempered that no one can even talk to him. Abigail wasted no time. She quickly gathered 200 loaves of bread, 2 wineskins full of wine, 5 sheep that had been slaughtered. This shows you that King David, a righteous man, ate meat, 5 sheep that had been slaughtered, and that it was righteous. It wasn't against the law. Nearly a bushel of roasted grain, 100 clusters of raisins, and 200 fig cakes. She packed them on donkeys and said to her servants, go on ahead. I will follow you shortly. But she didn't tell her husband Nabal what she was doing. As she was riding her donkey into a mountain ravine, she saw David and his men coming toward her. David had just been saying a lot of good it did to help this fellow. We protected his flocks in the wilderness, and nothing he owned was lost or stolen, but he has repaid me evil for good. May the Most High strike me and kill me if even one of his household is still alive tomorrow morning. When Abigail saw David, she quickly got off her donkey and bowed low before him. So King David was like, we're going to kill everybody. We're going to go down there. Instead of them giving us something, we're going to take everything. She fell at his feet and said, I accept all blame in this matter, my lord. Please listen to what I have to say. I know Nabal is a wicked and ill-tempered man. Please don't pay any attention to him. He is a fool, just as his name suggests. But I never even saw the young men you sent. Now, my lord, as surely as the Lord lives, you yourself live, since the Lord has kept you from murdering, because it would have been murder, thou shalt do no murder, and taking vengeance into your own hands, let all your enemies and those who try to harm you be as cursed as Nabal is. Why did she say that? I'm sure she had heard about what was going on with King David, how he had a bunch of enemies, right? So she prophesied on him. And here is a present that I, your servant, have brought to you and your young men. Please forgive me if I have offended you in any way. The Lord will surely reward you, listen, with a long-lasting dynasty, for you are fighting the Lord's battles. You have not done wrong throughout your entire life. Even when you are chased by those who seek to kill you, your life is safe in the care of the Lord your power, secure in his treasure pouch. But the lives of your enemies will disappear like stones shot from a sling. When the Lord has done all he promised and has made you leader of Israel, Don't let this be a blemish on your record. Then your conscience won't have to bear the staggering burden of needless bloodshed and vengeance. And when the Lord has done great things for you, please remember me, your servant. You see that? She prophesied. She said, you're gonna win. You're going to be the king, right? Everything that you ever wanted, you're going to get it. The Lord going to look out for you. David replied to Abigail, praise the Lord, Yahweh, the God of Israel, who has sent you to meet me today. Thank the Most High for your good sense. Bless you for keeping me from murder and from carrying out vengeance with my own hands. For I swear by the Lord, the God of Israel, who has kept me from hurting you, that if you had not hurried out to meet me, not one of Nabal's men would still be alive tomorrow morning. Then David accepted her present and told her, return home in peace. I have heard what you said. We will not kill your husband. And this shows you too that even today, that's why we always say we ain't never said that all the Israelite women is bad. No, we never said that, because you're going to have some woman, some sister be in the spirit like Abigail. You're going to have some sister be in the spirits of these women that we read about who were beloved of the Most High. It says when Abigail arrived home, she found that Nabal was throwing a big party and was celebrating like a king. He was very drunk, so she didn't tell him anything about her meeting with David until dawn the next day. In the morning when Nabal was sober, his wife told him what had happened. As a result, he had a stroke and he lay paralyzed on his bed like a stone. He heard about it. Man, King David was on the way down. They were going to put in work. And he got all messed up. He had a stroke and was basically at death's door. About 10 days later, the Lord struck him and he died. See, so Nabal had a stroke and he was paralyzed and he lingered for about 10 days, but then he passed away. When David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, praise the Lord, who has avenged the insult I received from Nabal and has kept me from doing it myself. Nabal has received the punishment for his sin. Then David sent messengers to Abigail to ask her to become his wife. When the messengers arrived at Carmel, they told Abigail, David has sent us to take you back to marry him. She bowed low to the ground and responded, I, your servant, will be happy to marry David. I would even be willing to become a slave, washing the feet of his servants. Quickly getting ready, she took along 5 of her servant girls as attendants, mounted her donkey, and went with David's messengers, and so she became his wife. David also married Ahinoam from Jezreel, making both of them his wives. And she had 5 servant girls. So guess what? Them 5 servant girls, that's 7. 7 women King David wound up getting. And it didn't have to tell you that King David would say that in the scriptures there. You added that. No, I didn't add it. It's there. The servants of your wife, if your wife got servant girls, what you think that means? They're her servants, but they also gonna be your servants. They're gonna be your concubines. They her slaves. They're gonna be your concubines if you choose it to be so. You see? And he had another wife on top of that with both of them. Okay, or with Abigail, Ahinoam, and then you had the 5 servant girls that Abigail had. So I mean, that's what it is, man. But it's a beautiful story. I love to read that. It demonstrates and illustrates that King David, at first he was gonna take revenge, and because you're talking about a badass warrior and a soldier. If you insult him, you might get fucking dead. So he was gonna go and put in work, but then the Most High sent Abigail, put the spirit on her to go. And what wound up happening? Not only did King David not take revenge, the Lord took Nabal ass out, then gave him his wife. And what happened? When Nabal died, all his riches and whatever he had went to his wife, and his wife married David. So guess what? David wound up getting all of that. So the Lord will take care of your enemies. He killed that dude, gave him a stroke, thumped his heart, fucked them all up, and then gave him his old beautiful wife, man. So it is what it is, but it's a lesson inside of that. Just like you see this Jake got all emotional. Like I said before, the biggest thing about it all is you did all that to protect your daughter, but you reacted in haste like a damn effeminate, emotional, bitch ass black man, a void of light man. Now who gonna take care of your daughter? Who gonna protect her now? You was her main protector. You rose up and you did something. You said you were trying to prove a point. Okay, well, now what? Who's going to take care of her now? Just as sure as I don't know what, if she ain't got the proper guardian, she going to wind up on the stripper pole or worse. You done took yourself out of the whole playbook by being emotional. And this shows you brothers and sisters out there. A so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American that don't know the Lord, they're very dangerous. Not to be trusted. And they capable of anything at this point. So that's it. We'll see you soon with another lesson, Lord willing.